Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast for now. He's in Chicago, at least east of me. We are looking at Sunday, 5 games on an NBA Christmas Day slate. Nate, we are bringing you about 4 game videos and our player props for that day because we don't really want to talk about the Suns and Nuggets and have to predict that one. But we do have plenty of content for you guys, so make sure to like and subscribe. Continue to come back to us. We also want you to head to thelines.com. That's where we have all of our great written content about all this stuff and our odds finder tool that you can use to make sure you're getting the best juice back on all the bets you're making in the NBA this season. Nate, let's jump through this 5 game slate and then talk about the game that I think we're most excited to watch on Sunday. Milwaukee in Boston taking on those C's.
Yeah, it's the best teams in the NBA according to most people's metrics, and that will be a good one. It opens, though, the slate on Christmas with the Sixers minus 2.5 at Knicks. Totals at 219 there. We like the Sixers, as we talk about in our video. The Lakers are plus 7.5 at Dallas. Totals at 226. We do break that one down for you. Then the Bucks are plus 4 at Boston. Total of 223. Memphis is minus 4 at Golden State in the 8 o'clock game with a 227 total. And then the Suns plus 3 at Denver to close things out. 223 is a pretty low total, I feel, when you have two teams that can really cook offensively. I mean, for a while, it seems like we were scared to take Milwaukee on the road to score a lot of points, but that's kind of adjusted lately. They've gone over in 3 straight road games here. They've gone over in 4 of their last 5. And on the road, their defense has struggled mightily with a 125 defensive rating, playing at 100 pace. And recently, while they're limiting the quality of looks for three-pointers, they are allowing high volume. So that's what you worry about when you face the Celtics. If you're allowing a ton of threes, it doesn't really matter that you have a good rim protector in Brook Lopez, because they can work it around and get those shots. Now, of course, the Celtics have struggled on their road trip, and then they lost 2 in a row to Orlando, and they lost 1 to Indy. We don't know yet what's going to happen when they host Minnesota tonight. Maybe they're back on track because over the course of the entire season at home, they've been lights out. They were 2-1 to the over at home because their offensive rating was just through the roof. I guess you can blame a little bit of the regression on Rob Williams coming back, even though he's playing about 20 minutes and trying to adjust to having a true big in there, not playing their true 5-out style against Milwaukee. But I mean, these teams, when they've played on Christmas, have been a consistent over machine. Milwaukee's won 5 of their last 6 on Christmas, over in 3 straight. Boston's gone over in 5 of 6 Christmas appearances, and this iteration of Boston is much more reliable because you have Jason Tatum just being a problem for anybody. And the last time these teams played in the regular season, it was actually on Christmas, and the Bucks had 70 points in the second half. That game did go over despite Tatum going 7 for 20 from the field. Giannis had 36 points in just 30 minutes. He's on a career pace right now. Even with Rob Williams, they're not going to be able to keep him out of the paint. He's career high in free throw attempts as well, and Boston not doing as well in that department lately. Now, the home team has won 4 straight in this matchup in the regular season, but in the postseason, the home team actually really struggled in that 7-game series, going 2-5 against the spread. I lean towards Milwaukee, having not seen Boston get back on track yet on Friday. If you're getting the plus odds, I just don't think if you're going to struggle against Orlando, like a Giannis light team for sure, that you're going to have a great time against Giannis. But I think my preferred bet is the over because both these teams have been playing great team ball. We might see Chris Middleton back out there, and he really sparked the Bucks offensively and hurt their defense. It seemed like when he got back in there, not all the way back. And the way Tatum's playing, I just don't expect a dud from him against anyone but the Warriors. And that usually helps you get over when you have your best guy scoring like 38 a game. And the other guy, Giannis, is pretty much a point a minute.
Yeah. First of all, who's Giannis light on the Magic? Is it Paolo? I kind of like that. But he can shoot, so that's kind of sick.
Yeah.
Nah, but I would say yes. The Bucks, they lost actually their last road game to those Cavs where they were getting blown out and actually made a little bit of a comeback. But that game was just super illustrative of what they've been doing lately, which is just not supporting Giannis at all. And same for Boston. Like you talk about them going over, and they should. They didn't go over as we predicted, and I specifically my favorite bet in that Boston Indiana game was the under 233 is where that ended, and I hit under when it got to 233 because just Indy's been playing a little bit better defense, to be honest with you, and they've been guarding the 3-point line a lot better specifically, which is how you need to beat the Celtics. But I'll be honest, the Celtics just can't shoot their way out of a wet paper bag. Like they can't make anything right now from deep, and anybody outside of Jason Tatum who had 41 in the losing effort, unsurprisingly, and Jalen, I believe, chipped in with his like 26, but that's what we've been saying. They've been averaging 57, 58 a game. That's literally what we said beforehand. That's what they got in this. Well, they got closer to like 65, 70. But the point is like they're getting 70 points and you're still scoring 112 as a team, and the rest of the team is shooting worse than 30% from deep, worse than 50% from the field, like can't buy a bucket from anywhere. And that's the biggest problem, right? We talk about who's going to be stepping up for them afterwards. Over maybe. I do like the idea of Giannis getting his. I will say the one time he's played Papa Al and Rob Williams at the same time, he's had his worst outing against Papa Al. I was kind of trying to see if Papa Al was maybe a little bit of a Giannis stopper. Not really. He's actually more of a Joel Embiid stopper than anything, which is wild. But more than that, like Giannis, other than the last game where Rob Will was there supporting Al Horford in December of last season, like he's gotten basically 30 points a game against Al Horford for the last like 6 times he's played them, the last like 5 seasons. So, and I'm talking about specifically on the Celtics. I don't really care about what happened when Al Horford was on the Thunder for like a day or two. I'm more talking about these are all Celtics stats. But yeah, he's needed Rob Williams in there to stop him. So there's not a huge amount of like supporting evidence for me with the amount of games that Giannis has played against this Al Horford, Rob Williams combo that we hope is like the reason that their defensive rating has been better. But I would also just throw out there, like in their last roughly 6 games or so, if you're looking at what's been going on in the league, the Bucks, as we talked about, first of all, the Celtics worst offensive rating, couldn't have predicted that. That's a direct result of not being able to make threes, a little bit too much live or die by that stuff for them. The defensive rating for the Celtics has gotten better to 9th best, and that's where Milwaukee's dwindled all the way down to about 112. The problem is their offense is also shit right now, basically because Drew Holiday can't buy a bucket himself and doesn't look really comfortable out there, averaging less than 15 a game over his last 4, and it's just not something that they can sustain. I love Brook Lopez, love him, but like you can't have that be your second option is a 30-foot 3 from Brook Lopez or the occasional hook shot if he decides to go down low. So like for them to be able to score in this game, that's why it's at 223 when these two teams are so capable of putting up 120 each on any given night. They just haven't been doing it as of late, and it's been a little bit more of defensive effort. So I'm taking the plus money with Milwaukee as well. I'm not going to bet on these Celtics to start making threes. Anybody not named Jalen or Jason, I'm not going to start betting on that right now. And I'm going to continue to feel better about the Bucks, at least like maybe being a little bit worse on defense, but still being in the top 13 and being capable of handling. And there's got to be some positive regression on offense for that team. They can't continue it the way that they are.
Yeah, and it's some negative regression for the Celtics defense. I mean, when you talk about them in their last 8 having a great defensive rating, limiting points off turnover, it's a lot easier to do that when you're not facing the Bucks. Who are, like I said, they've got a freight train coming in there. And with the secondary options, you didn't mention your guy, Crazy Eyes Bobby Portis, who's had a nice time for sure in his last 5 regular season games against Boston, scoring double figures in all of them. 21 points in 17 minutes in one of these. He can get it done. And Al and Rob, I think with the minutes limit, you're not going to see both of them on the floor at the same time very much. For me, it's about how Boston responds to adversity this season. I mean, maybe the last couple seasons it would have been with a stellar defensive effort, but this season it's just got to be ramping it up a little bit and getting other guys involved. Malcolm Brogdon's got to step up. Marcus Smart's got to step up, and Smart has brought the best out of Drew Holiday as well. So maybe that breaks his slump.
True.
Lately. But 233. We took the under against Indiana. 10 points lower. I definitely like the over. Yeah. When you involve the Bucks. That's just where I go.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, Indiana was playing better defense on three. I think they held the Celtics to under their team total, right? That was like at 120, not to mention destroying that plus 9.5 spread that they covered and then won the game on. So, yeah, I mean, Indy, it's not anywhere near the same style of play as Milwaukee, but they are guarding the three better than even Milwaukee has been in their last six. Like I said, like 10th best, which is wild in terms of limiting their opponent 3-point percentage and 3-pointers made for the Pacers. So that was a game that, yeah, it went under, but 229 still could easily see that being the case in this one. I do like points as well, but I do like Milwaukee to hang, especially if we see this game close to the 120s. Then I think that's a direct result of Milwaukee also being in this game and them just going punch for punch, like you said. So looking forward to seeing what it is. Chris Middleton doubtful for the Friday night game that they have against the Nets. So you want to make sure you see if he's playing and what that does to all these props and obviously game lines and totals if he is announced that he's going to play or not on Sunday. So make sure you're checking all that out on thelines.com. And that is all the time we have for you in this one. So continue to follow along with us. And until we see you next, happy betting.